Hello everybody, welcome to today's Fliplet Summit. My name's Ian Broom. I'm going to be the presenter for the first section of today's event. So what is Fliplet Summit? In case you haven't attended a Fliplet Summit before, Fliplet Summit is our biannual event. We run this event to give us an opportunity to talk to our customers and talk to them about what we've been working on, what's coming up, and aggregate all of our demos into a single event. So we do this every 6 months, and you'll be hearing from quite a few colleagues at Fliplet today as they join the webinar to present different parts of today's agenda. The agenda for today is I'm going to kick off with the future of Fliplet, AI-generated solutions. Then we're going to be joined by Emma and Grace from Mills & Reeve, who are going to tell us about how they use Fliplet. Then we're going to have a roadmap update from Tony and Sophie, my colleagues. After that, we're going to see 3 demos from Sophie, Deb, and Lisa. The demos are the new app merge feature, which has been very frequently requested, so I think people will be excited to see what we've created. An update on the latest AI feature component and the action builder, and also an update on the latest and greatest features that we're adding into the event solution, which is a very popular solution with our customers. And then finally, we're going to have an InfoSec and compliance update with my colleague Toby. If at any time you have any questions, just click the QA button inside Zoom and type your question. The questions are not seen by anybody else, so they're private. And if for some reason we don't have time to answer your questions, we will be able to see who asked the question, and we will be able to follow up with you afterwards. If for some reason the name that you've entered into Zoom doesn't enable us to figure out who you are, you might see one of my colleagues send you a message and just ask who you are. So if we're not able to follow up during today, we know who you are, so we can follow up on email afterwards. But please ask questions at any point in time. You will not interrupt the speakers. We've all been trained to focus on our content first, and then if we have time at the end, we'll pick up any questions that have been submitted via Zoom. So I'm going to dive into the future of Fliplet, AI-generated solutions. This will cover how Fliplet will utilize AI to deliver secure, reliable, and safe software to our customers. Firstly, a bit about our vision with AI-first creation. So we ultimately really want to help our customers to produce software that's really quick to produce, has great design, is very powerful, is easy to maintain and easy to update. These are our core principles that we're focusing on as we start working on the next major version of Fliplet Studio. Fliplet's been through a bit of an AI journey over the last few years. So in 2023, we introduced our first AI features. These were pretty simplistic, but started to teach us how to work with AI. And some customers got really excited and went off and built their own features. But as you would expect, considering generative AI has really only been around since 2023, a lot of those features were really quite basic entry level. Then in 2025, this year, we launched our AI feature component, and it completely changed the game. Now we see customers regularly building very sophisticated features completely on their own. They don't have to engage with Fliplet to build those features. And we're actively investing, and you'll see later on when Deb presents an update on the AI feature component, you'll be able to see the latest changes that we've made to that to make it even more powerful. We've also got an action builder coming out. The action builder is designed to produce server-side processes, workflows, and this will enable your apps to do a lot more behind the scenes and give you an interface to produce these back-end processes, we call them actions, without having to write code. You'll just be able to have a conversation with AI, and it'll be able to send push notifications or emails, and in the future do other things for you very, very easily. And what I'm excited about, and what I'll be talking a bit about today, is what's going to come next year when Fliplet Studio becomes AI first. We're going to be launching a new version of Fliplet Studio. We're calling it internally version 3, and version 3 will be completely AI first. So what are the advantages of AI-driven development? Well, the first is you can get started very quickly. AI is a very, very good product manager, technical architect, software designer, etc. And it's only getting better. And I'll show you some things that I was able to create just this morning with our latest AI features so that you can see what you'll be able to create soon. AI enables you to also iterate and improve very rapidly. So one of the great things is AI not only writes code quickly, but you can also then provide it with feedback, and it'll immediately go off and start making the changes, meaning that the pace at which you can not only produce something, but also the pace at which you can modify it or optimize it is very fast. You can also adjust the entire app structures intelligently. So, for example, I was working on an app earlier today with our latest AI features, and I noticed that it didn't have very good accessibility compliance. Fonts were sometimes too small, colors were sometimes, colors and text sometimes didn't have a high enough contrast ratio, and there were some other elements that just I'm pretty sure would not meet accessibility guidelines. And so I asked AI, can you review this software from a perspective of AI accessibility and tell me what needs to change? And it came up with a list of about 50 things that it thought could be improved, and then it went off and did them all. This is a great example of where I was able to instruct it at a pretty high level to do something, and then it just went off and did the task. I didn't have to keep chasing it or reminding it. It was able to do a very broad task for me, and all I had to do was give it a fairly narrow set of requirements or instructions. AI is also very good at maintaining and enhancing apps effortlessly. I kind of just spoke about a good example of that, but let's say that you needed to upgrade a library that your app was using. Maybe it had a security issue in it, maybe it was old and you didn't want to use it anymore, maybe it wasn't being maintained, it was deprecated. You would be able to just say, hey AI, I don't want to use that library, make this change for me, and it'll go off and diligently do it. Potentially it'll also tell you if it thinks there are any problems before it makes the change, to make sure that you're aware of the change and how it could potentially have negative consequences, not just positive ones. AI-driven development also means Fliplet doesn't have to build and maintain as many pre-built components. So if you're used to Fliplet Studio, you'll know we have lots of components. One of the problems with having lots of components is the level of maintenance on those components is pretty significant for Fliplet. So we're excited about being able to retire a lot of those components while offer our customers even more features and functionality. And then finally, one of the things that we're going to be doing, which is a little bit beyond just pure AI-driven development, is we're going to give you, the customer, the ability to visually edit your apps. So this is similar to what you can do with Fliplet at the moment, but you'll be able to either use AI to make changes, or you'll be able to click and start making changes, either by instructing AI to specifically make a change to a part of your software, but also being able to say, click on text and make changes without having to go and touch code. So we're very excited about all of these advantages coming together to help our customers. But AI has its own set of problems. You'll probably know about some of these either because you've experienced them or because you've heard about them in the press. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how we're going to address these common problems in AI. So the first problem is security, or maybe in the case of AI, delivering an insecure solution. So Fliplet's going to manage this by delivering a security monitoring agent that will continuously be improving in the background, will continuously be testing it and upgrading its capabilities. And this will constantly monitor your app. And if it thinks that there's something insecure, it'll tell you about it. It won't wait for you to ask. Poor quality code. So one of the things that we've already started working on is how can we ensure that the code that's created by AI is good quality, it doesn't have any issues, it doesn't have bugs. And so for that reason, we're going to be building out a best practices AI agent that is going to sit there and monitor your app while you're building it and put its hand up if it thinks that there's something you can improve and tell you about it. This is going to run in parallel to the code that you're asking AI to write, because AI generally wants to please its users. So if we don't have dual AI processes running in parallel, the likelihood is it's probably not going to suggest that there are potential issues unless you have a dedicated separate agent that's monitoring the initial AI process. Prevent mistakes. So one of the features that Fliplet Studio already offers is the ability to roll back and undo changes, but we're going to make sure that this is built in core as part of the next iteration. So if AI misinterprets what you're asking it to do and it goes off and does something that you don't expect, you'll be able to roll back very easily. Inaccuracy. One of the issues that we're all aware of is AI can hallucinate. It doesn't do this intentionally. It does this because it thinks that it knows the right answer. But obviously, in some cases, it does not know the right answer. And humans can detect that. So one of the things that Fliplet Studio already offers is a great built-in testing environment via the preview mode. And also, if you want it on mobile, you can test via Fliplet Viewer. We're going to continue to ensure that those capabilities are available in the next iteration of Fliplet Studio. So anything that's produced with AI, you're going to be able to easily review and test. Bugs. One of the things that we're going to do is build an agent that continuously monitors your live apps and detects if there's any issues, such as code that's not working, maybe habits from users that would indicate that there are issues because they keep going over and doing the same thing repeatedly. So we're going to build an agent that intentionally monitors your software, and if it finds a bug, it'll notify you about it. Inconsistency. So one of the things that we've observed internally when testing with AI is that it can make a really great screen A and then a really average screen B, and the design standards are not retained. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is ensuring that your design standards are retained. This might mean that we end up overhauling our design and appearance settings in version 3 of Fliplet Studio so that you're able to more effectively and efficiently set your brand guidelines, and then AI will follow them and implement them consistently. And then finally, incomplete features. So one of the aspects that we're going to be also working on is it's relatively easy for AI to just think that it's finished and it actually hasn't. This could also be related to bugs or poor quality code as well. So one of the things that we've already started to plan is how we can use an AI agent to actually be automatically testing your app, proactively determining if it thinks there is issues, and raising them to the user in Fliplet Studio. With one click, you can then tell, yes, you're right, that is an issue, I need that to be fixed, and it'll pass it over to another AI agent that'll go about fixing it for you. So I hope that with this information, you're able to feel a little bit more comfortable that we're thinking about the risks that could affect going all in on AI in the next version of Studio, and hopefully you're excited at the solutions that we've come up with. This is an early mock-up of what Fliplet Studio version 3 could look like. So you can see it's got the chat section over on the left where you'll be able to interact with AI, and then you've got the screen list, very similar to how Fliplet Studio looks at the moment. You've got kind of a redesign of where different things exist, but you've still got the ability to zoom in and out. You've still got the ability to change the preview. You've still got the ability to invite and publish, etc. And then what we're also thinking about is that there are going to be additional new capabilities or new modes that you want to use because you want to be clear with AI what you want it to do. So for example, there might be code or creation mode. There might be app logic or action mode. There'll be, of course, managing files and managing data. Ultimately, all of this is designed to empower you. So the way we're thinking about using AI is it'll help you to plan your app. Once you're happy with the plan, it'll help write code, create and manage data sources, and it'll even be able to generate content, images, and icons for you. It'll also help you to configure your app settings, configure SEO, which is a profession in and of itself, and obviously becoming more important as more and more people turn to AI tools in order to figure out what they should be accessing on the internet. AI will also be able to do a security review security rules, and as I mentioned on the previous slide, look for best practices and make sure that you're following them. We're also going to add in the ability, which is a new capability, for AI to be able to help promote your app. We know a lot of our customers find Fliplet Studios very useful for building and testing, but then when it comes time to actually share the app with their users, that can be a bit frictious. Fliplet Studio doesn't currently help. We're going to end up building a capability where you'll be able to use Fliplet Studio to help promote the app to your users. Studio will still ultimately be the control center, but there will be some things that will not be AI driven, or there'll be AI and non-AI driven, such as managing screens, content, and code. You'll still be able to do that inside Fliplet Studio. You won't have to use AI. SSO and security settings will only partially be controlled by AI, and then other settings like SSO will probably have no AI capabilities at all. You'll just configure it as you do today. Managing data in files, we're still going to give you the interfaces that you're used to for managing that. And review changes and rollback will still be available in Fliplet Studio outside of the AI features. All the app settings will continue to be available. Publishing an update will work as it currently does. We don't see AI bringing a significant amount to the table when it comes to publishing and updating apps. And then analytics and logs will continue to be as it is, although as you're probably aware, we already have started adding some optional additional features on top of analytics and logs that uses AI to help you process the information. So how can these features help you specifically? So I've got 5 different examples that I'm quickly going to run through now. So the first is you could produce, for example, a highly interactive learning solution or a highly interactive piece of software of your choice. In this case, AI helps to assess the information that I've asked for. In this case, it was a context engineering course. I provided that information to AI. AI helped me to come up with a plan. It proposed content. It came up with the design and the branding. And then it built all of this for me. It was then able to help me to review it, make sure that if there were any issues, they were fixed, etc. This isn't a fictitious app. I actually built this morning. It took me 20 minutes with an early version of Fliplet Studio version 3 features. So this is the type of quality that we're getting already out of this feature. A couple of things that I would also highlight, you can see on the congratulations Ian screen, it's got a couple of dots sitting over the top of the trophy icon. It had actually put some celebratory confetti in there. And then down the bottom where it has the certificate of completion, the certificate emblem was nicely rotating in a very kind of classy way. So it had included a whole set of additional animations that made this app even more engaging. So this is an example of highly interactive software. In this case, it's a learning solution that really grabs users and makes them want to keep going because it's giving them delightful design experiences back. The next is a highly customized event solution. We know events are very popular. We're going to be talking about a lot of our upcoming event functionality later on in Fliplet Summit today. One of the things that customers regularly require is that they have a very specialized event and that they need something unique for that event. In this case, I've used registration as an example. So a common request we get from some of our corporate customers is, I need my attendees to be able to register for specific social activities that we're going to be having across different dates. And in this case, you can see that there's an example where it's offering luxury spa experiences or championship golf. And in the screenshot, you can't see it, but it also offered yoga and horse riding as well. Now, one of the critical elements is when I want to register for a spa experience, I have to then pick the treatment I want. Or in the case that you can see in the overlay screenshot, if I click golf, I need to tell it, do I need to hire clubs? What's my shoe size? What's my skill level? So I'm paired with other people who play at the same level as me. All of this was generated via AI. I just explained I have a complicated event registration. These are the different types of events. What information do you think I should be collecting? How should we go about building this? And it came up with this. It took about 10 minutes. One of the things that slows down people getting the most out of Fliplet Studio is the fact that you can't rapidly integrate it with existing pieces of software. Fliplet has an extensive set of pre-built integrations, but often they take time to configure. You have to set them up. They're quite technical. There's no guidance, or there's limited guidance through documentation or maybe our support team. Customers would prefer if there was something that kind of just did the integration for them and really guided them through the process. The other thing that's also complicated about integrations is, although we could have a Salesforce integration, but just because we've built a standard integration with Salesforce doesn't mean that it'll meet everybody's Salesforce configuration requirements. So it's very common that although integrating with Salesforce is relatively easy to do with Fliplet, it still can require quite a lot of planning and testing and integration and configuration. So with Fliplet version 3, this is going to become significantly easier to do. And so we're really excited to see what our customers are able to start to integrate Fliplet Studio V3 with. I mentioned this earlier, but one of the things that can be quite frustrating is, let's say that you decide that you want to make a global change across your app. Let's say you decide that the header across the top of every page, you really liked the way you did it last year, but this year you'd like to do something different. And let's say you've got 40 screens in your app, which means you have 40 manual headers you now have to go and update. It's not the most exciting task. The exciting task is figuring out what's the new header going to look like. The exciting task is not rolling that header out to 39 other screens. Fliplet V3 will be very good at this. You'll just be able to say, take the header from screen A, apply it to all the other screens for me, and it'll sit there, come up with a plan, and go about doing it for you. You can also do more technical changes like the one I described earlier. Let's say that a tool or a library that you were using was deprecated or retired, and you need to replace it. You can just instruct AI, hey, I don't want to use this version of a low code library anymore. I want you to go through and I want you to replace it with this new code library. And it'll diligently come up with a plan and do that for you. I've mentioned already that we're going to have a number of agents running inside Fliplet Studio. One of the ones that I'm particularly excited about, or one of the use cases I'm excited about, is the fact that AI will be able to improve performance issues. So it will not only be able to use logs and other forms of data to actually detect issues and potentially put them on a dashboard like this, but it'll also then give you the ability to one-click go through and kind of start fixing them. Because AI will have analyzed the issue, it will understand why it's a performance issue, which in some ways might make it actually better at fixing it than, say, the human, who maybe isn't aware of the performance issue. So we're really excited to see how this can lead to kind of apps and software getting faster over time, because AI is able to mine its own usage data, the app's usage data, and determine what could be better, what could be faster, and then go and do it. We've already started, as you've heard, building out some of the features required to deliver this vision. We've already started to create an MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol, for Fliplet. Just this morning, me and 8 colleagues all used it for the first time, and that's how I was able to build some of the designs that I showed you a couple of slides ago. The MCP feature will be released to some technical clients. So if you're a software developer and you work inside an organization that's using Fliplet and you're interested to give us feedback on the MCP, please get in touch with us. You can send a message to us via Zoom, or you can put in the QA feature MCP, and we'll follow up with you, and we'll make sure that we give you an early access to this new capability. The MCP basically allows AI to programmatically interact with Fliplet and start building out apps automatically on your behalf. As we continue to refine the MCP, we're then going to build a new editing interface inside Fliplet Studio. You saw a mock-up of this, and this is going to utilize this MCP server under the hood, and this is going to be at the core of how AI is able to interact with the Fliplet infrastructure and be able to interact with it and manipulate it so that it's able to build out apps sitting on top of Fliplet's existing capabilities. After that, we're then going to start building out the agents that I mentioned. And then finally, we're going to start building out a new suite of pre-built app solutions based on version 3. So one of the first ones that we intend to build is a new event solution. And we're very excited by this. We believe that although AI makes building apps easy, you still have to understand the art of the possible. So we're still going to very much prioritize building out app solutions that demonstrate to our customers what you can do with Fliplet. And then I'm sure that some customers will take those solutions and modify them a bit and use them mostly off the shelf, which is what happens a lot at the moment. But then I anticipate other customers will use them more as inspiration. What could I do with Fliplet? Oh, I really like that. I really like that. I really like that. one of the great things is you can just take screenshots of those features, give it back to our AI feature and say, I like this, build it for me, but make these changes. So I think AI will bring about an entirely new way to work with our pre-built solutions and evolve them to meet your needs. Ultimately, everything that AI is going to be doing is still based on Fliplet's core concepts. So it's all the data that goes in and out of the AI tool is going to be secure, and we're ensuring that we have the appropriate agreements in place with all of our AI providers, that they are not allowed to use any of our customer data or any of our data for training. They're not allowed to retain any of the data more than the minimum period that they require for security and compliance purposes. We will still very much, as I mentioned earlier, be using the preview and Fliplet viewer features to provide humans with oversight. So AI is not able to go off and do anything without your approval or permission. And then AI will be also continuously monitoring and testing. And we will also be, as Fliplet, making sure that these tools are working. We're still ISO 27001 compliant. All of the new capabilities will be part of our audits. We're still going to comply with GDPR. We're still going to make sure security is very important and at the top of our priority list. So what will happen if you've already got some Fliplet apps and we launch Fliplet version 3? So first thing is, any apps that are built with the current version of Fliplet, we call it version 2 internally, will continue to work and you'll continue to be able to access them. If you decide to build out a new app with version 3, when you click on it in the app list screen in Fliplet, it will just load the new studio experience for you. And if you click on an older app, it'll load the existing studio experience. So you will not be forced to migrate your apps to version 3, and there's nothing in version 3 that will be able to access your current apps. We will continue to maintain the existing Fliplet Studio for at least 2 years from the point that we launch version 3 of Fliplet Studio, so there'll be no short-term pressure on any customers to migrate their apps. And if you do want your app to start using the latest versions in V3, there will be no upgrade path, unfortunately. You will need to rebuild your app, but we will be issuing guidance and we will happily support our customers with the transition to version 3, making it as seamless as possible. So ultimately, we're very excited about this. We believe that this will deliver a simpler, faster, and safer app creation experience for everybody. And if you're interested to be right at the forefront, testing these features, discussing them with us, being part of pre-release focus groups, etc., please get in touch. We would love to be engaging you, keeping you up to date as we move into this exciting next stage of Fliplet.